Three, two, one. We're live. And we're
Hello.
about to hit live for Instagram. And Instagram's crashed on me. Oh, that's no fun. But that's okay. I've got it up on on the there we go. It's working now. We're live
Fabulous.
on Instagram too. We're back on.
Hello, hello.
Um, hi everyone. Hello and welcome for another Carnivore Connections live stream. Yay! We have another special guest. I have been chatting to this lovely human on Instagram, and I've come across her wonderful story, which I'd love to hear more about, actually. So, without further ado, I just want to introduce and welcome Sophia from Western Australia.
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me on your show.
Ah, no worries. It's my pleasure. Um, I guess while we're sort of waiting for viewers to come on, listen on. Oh, we do have people coming on the Instagram side of things. Um, let's see here, Sophia. I want to know more about your story, and I guess if you could share also with us how you got to be where you are. You are doing the carnivore diet, and you've got a personal journey which I've listened to, and also you have a you are also a carnivore coach. Is that correct? Yeah, just making sure I
I've
got that
just
right.
kind of started branching out into that. So I'm not
Oh,
too sure
lovely.
where it's all going. I'm just kind of putting the
Yeah.
feelers out there. But okay, so I've been on the carnivore diet for 6 months. What prompted this was well, it was really an accident. I got bit by my cat. Can you believe that? Yeah. So but let's go back a little bit more, okay? So
Yeah.
I've been on the blood group diet for 3 years. Actually, let's go back even further than that. Okay, so 2020, when all the chaos was going on and there was
Mm.
like woo. So
And all about it.
I decided I was going to end my relationship with a certain industry.
Mm.
So this certain industry, was pushing a lot of things onto humanity that I just disagreed with. So I decided to say stuff you, and basically took my health into my own hands. And it's not like I didn't suffer. I was still having pain problems. I was still tired. I still had my neck problem. I still had gut issues. I still had everything that I was suffering from. But I
Mhm.
was finally taking the step to take responsibility, because I wasn't getting any answers from any of the quacks out there. That's what I'll call them.
Quacks.
um, yeah, and when you don't get answers and you're searching for answers, you try everything. So I eventually got off all of the medications. The only one that I didn't get off of last was the thyroid medication. Um,
Mm.
and for the first 6 months that I was on no medication, I did suffer, but I used other means to treat myself, like Cairo and hot baths and Tiger Balm and all these other things, and
Mm.
resting more, being in bed more. Luckily, I have a job that is not too taxing, so I can just do my job. I work 4 hours a day, and then like the total 4 hours, I'm like, I'm dying, I'm dying, I'm dying. Okay, I can go to bed now.
Mm.
So just get through the 4 hours and then I can go to bed. So that's kind of how the first 6 months of being off all of the medications went.
Mm.
Then I went and saw a naturopath when I was living in Perth, up in Padbury, and she had said, what's your blood group? I says, I don't know. I think it might be an O. She says, well, if you're an O, then you really shouldn't be having like corn, wheat, or peanuts or any avocados. And I'm like, oh, that's me. That's me. So she convinced me to get on this diet, and it was making me feel better, but I wasn't like I am now. Okay. So that was 3 years. Fast forward to my cat attacking me by accident. Okay. I won't get into the story about that, but it was a mistaken identity. Okay. It's not his fault, but it was so bad that I couldn't walk for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, this must have been a
Um,
pretty big scratch.
He bit me twice, and
Oh, bite. Sorry. Yeah.
the first bite was right into my Achilles tendon. So right into the,
Wow.
like, right in the tendon. I have a permanent scar. And then he got me twice. So the initial bite, it was the deepest one, and I bled everywhere. Okay. Um, I ended up passing out on the floor, and I peed myself
Oh
as well. So
wow.
it was a horrible experience. I could not walk for 2 weeks. I was on crutches for about a week, painkillers and antibiotics for about a week, and I didn't start driving until about week 3. Okay. I had just recovered from having my granddaughter a couple weeks prior, and that whole week of school holidays at the end of January was just insane. So I had come off of that whole week of running on adrenaline to crash and burn.
Mm,
Then the cat thing happened, and then I was just in a bad sort with my health completely. My husband said to me, he says, why don't you consider the carnivore diet? I've heard so much about it, and I watched this Joe Rogan thing with Sean Baker. I've seen,
mm,
Jordan Peterson and Cure himself, and I'm like, okay. He says, just do it for 30 days and see how you feel. If it doesn't work, then you can go back to the blood group diet. I'm like, okay, cool. And so I did my first 30 days, and immediately I was starting to drop weight. And I'm like, oh my God, I've never lost weight like this in my life, this easy, without
mm, mm.
busting my butt in the gym and without starving myself. So after 30 days, I was like, I'm going to keep going because I'm losing weight. Like, I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
want to be fat. I've never wanted to be fat. Anybody who
Yeah.
says that they love being fat and that they love their body, they're lying to themselves, or they hate themselves. Okay.
Mm, mm,
Nobody wants to be fat. So I was losing weight, and it wasn't until week 8 where I started to feel better. So I think people who do it for 30 days and they start to feel good, I think they need to do it at least 90 days to really feel good, like really feel the
mm, mm,
benefits. Because 8 weeks is when I started feeling really good, to where I was like, man, I think I'd like to go on a really long walk. I want to go on a 1 hour walk. And I was going on these walks, and I was like, man, I feel great. And
mm,
then
mm.
after that, I started roller skating again. And, I hadn't roller skated in years, and I just love roller skating. And then I was started, my husband's got a gym in the garage, and it's like he was working out for, the past year. And I was gathering all these free, gym equipment for him. And I'm like,
Mm.
yeah, how about we start working out together? And I started like weightlifting at the end of May, and I've just not. I started with kind of like one day a
Interesting.
week. Yeah, just one day a week. And then I was like, oh, okay, I think I want to do two
Mm,
2 days a week. I'm like, no, I think I want to do 3 days a week now. It just kind of built over this time period, and I've put on a lot of muscle. Because I started at that point of not having much muscle and deteriorating over the years, to now I'm got a lot
mm,
more
mm.
muscle. So yeah, so I've learned a lot. I've pretty much every single day, I've done nothing but research. From day one, I just am like a sponge. I'm like taking it all in. And I've
Right.
noticed, I've noticed that when I'm, talking to in the social, the whole social thing, it's like I have no constraints with blabbing it and going on tangents about it, and I could just yak 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 with people and just kind of throw it down their throat. And I saw Dr. Ken Berry actually say you can't do that. I'm like, you know so I'm like, okay. And then it was How to Carnivore put out a post back in September, saying he was looking for people who were interested in coaching others. And I was just like, oh, I've never seen anybody post that before. Out of all of the influencers that I follow, nobody's put
Yeah.
that out there. And I'm
No.
like, I kind of was like, wow. And then I just couldn't stop thinking about it. And I was
Mm,
telling my
mm,
husband, this How to Carnivore page, they actually they put a shout out, for people who want to like do carnivore coaching. I was kind of thinking maybe I should look into it. And he's like, nah, I don't think so. I don't think that's you. And, he's playing the devil's advocate.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
anytime I try to start something, he's always questioning it, like to make sure that I really
yeah.
want to do it. And so I'm like, we're having walks on the beach, and over a few days, and I'm like, I can't really stop thinking about this. I'm thinking, if I just give it 1 month, maybe, and I'll just test it out,
Mm.
maybe look at it, and then now it's kind of like all of a sudden I'm like getting clients that I'm coaching now, and I'm like, what just happened? What has just
Wow,
happened?
that's
And
amazing.
I'm just like, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. So when those moments happen where I can't stop thinking about it, I know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Deep down.
I
Exactly.
think,
Yeah, yeah.
well, I don't know if you believe in a higher power, but I do. And so these are the
Hmm.
type of messages that I get. And it's like, okay, it's the way I get communicated,
Yeah, yeah.
visions or feelings or things will pop in my mind. Anyways, so I'm giving it a shot. Will it work? I have no clue. I get asked, well, what's your business goals? I really don't know. I'm just kind of feeling it out. I'm feeling it out. I'm trying it out. I think I'd be great at it, but I just need to give it a shot. And so
Exactly. Yeah.
I've got two clients now that I'm working with. I've got a third one who's already started the carnivore diet, but she wants like a little bit of assistance along the way. And I'm like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
cool, no problem. And I've got another one who's reached out to me. So that's like four, I'm like, okay, this is cool. See how things go and go from there. But was I thinking about being a coach? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is just kind of sprung up, and I'm like, hey, but I've always been a person who is really good at managing things. Like I can manage
Mm.
people, I can manage businesses. I'm really gung ho about things. I'm an uplifter, motivator. I'm really disciplined in myself. And I've been that way regardless of whatever I've been going through my own health experiences. So
Yeah,
applying those things to myself is really easy. And then basically just listening to people and what they're going through, having them, vent to me about what's going on, and then picking what they say and then saying, maybe you should try this,
mm-hmm.
and then giving them that boost that they need. It's all in the mind. It's a mindset. This whole thing is a mindset. But
Exactly.
if people are doing it on their own and they've got nobody else, I definitely think working with someone is better than not.
100%.
I don't know what your
Yeah.
experience has been like as a coach, but so far it's been good. Um, and we'll just continue to see how it goes.
Hey, look, what a ride, honestly. Like you went from your cat biting you, the accidental bite, within a span of a couple of months, experiencing the weight loss that you never thought you were going to experience, and from you doing that to coaching people. I mean, there must have been something about the carnivore diet that really struck out to you, and um,
I think
yeah,
it was
I'm
the
pretty sure it's the
results.
same for everyone.
It
Yeah,
was the results I was getting. I started
yeah.
to lose weight, and then my gut pain went. And then,
Mm.
because I'm perimenopausal as well, I never know when I'm going to have a period. So I started on March 9th, and I had no symptoms of starting, really. I started on April 1st. Of all days of starting, I started on Fool's Day. April Fool's Day is when I'm
April
like, ha
Fool's
ha
Day.
ha, ha ha, ha ha. I got one cramp, and then I started, and then that was it. I'm like, what? This is crazy. And I wasn't bedridden. I'm like, oh my God, boom. It's just like, it was amazing. And every single time I've had one, it's just been like no drama at all. I've just been amazed at that. And
Yeah.
my focus, because I was suffering with a lot of brain fog. I have a desk job, and I have had to use tactics over the years to make sure that I remember things. My memory was bad. Um, so I've learned tricks to combat my memory loss and forgetting things, and then just double checking my work and making lists of things. And I mean, my boss would tell me something, and I would literally forget it after the phone call. That's how bad it was. Okay.
Wow.
I'm a
Yeah.
lot better now, but I think I still have a lot more to go. But the brain fog is gone. I feel a little bit more clarity in my job, being able to do my job with not too many. I don't make a lot of mistakes. We're all human. We do make mistakes, but they're very rare these days. Yeah. So I just,
Mm-mm.
yeah, I don't know. It just feels good.
Yeah. It's funny actually. It skips my mind. The odd things about uh work being, like, your mood and your, I guess, your whole cognitive status improving, um with just the diet change itself is pretty cool. Because I had a client as well who said the same thing, where, out of all the things that you hear about people talk about online, it's the weight loss, it's this improved, that improves, but you never expect to improve your cognition or how you interact with your day-to-day life. Like, I'm not going to go into the details of this client, but uh work just suddenly became much more tolerable, and certain aspects of that, my client's job was just much better than what it was previously. um I know for myself, like, I struggled a lot as an RN, um, with just the physicalities of r-
And
continuing
that
an
would be
8-hour
so
shift.
major. I mean, that would be so major for you because you're in a position of taking care of other people.
I know, yeah, and I remember, you know, uh, clearly avoiding the stairs, because I knew that if I got myself up the stairs, you go flight of stairs up to the wards, I would just be huffing and puffing, and it would be, it'd be that the dreaded morning to start. Now I'm like, I take the stairs at any chance that I can.
Mm,
Mm. But these little
yeah,
things that matter. These are the things that
it
matter for people.
oh, look, before I went on Carnivore, I was one of these people that did one activity a day, one.
Yeah,
Meaning like, okay, so I'm gonna go on a swim today, and my swims generally last 2 hours. So yeah, it's not like I swim the whole time, but I'm doing a lot of
yeah,
frolicking. Okay. I swim in the
yeah.
ocean. I swim in the ocean as a mermaid. So I'm underwater a lot. I'm taking photos and doing videos of myself in a tail, and I'm just enjoying nature, and I'm out there, and I don't want to leave because it feels good. So
Yeah.
after that swim, I was wrecked. I'd be wrecked. I'd be like, I need to take a nap. I need to lay down. I can't do anything for the rest of the day. Okay. Whereas now, I haven't gone into summer yet, but I have had a few swims at the pool, and I've come back going, I'm okay. I don't feel sick. I don't have the body ache. I don't need to go to sleep. I'm actually okay. And that really just started after week 8. Week 8, because and I've
Wow.
also never lost weight during winter either. So this whole thing has been from the end in autumn all the way through winter, and I've lost weight, and I'm like, this is a mind blow for me because it's the first time.
First
First
time.
time I've
Oh,
ever lost weight during winter.
that's amazing.
Yeah. And
Hey, I've
summer's
got a comment
coming.
from you.
Summer's coming. Oh yeah?
Yeah, a good comment here. Someone from Instagram, Keto Marathons. I love your story. Having a great supportive community is one ingredient that can make the results stick. Picture of
Yes,
the
I agree.
guns and
Thank you.
what is
I
it?
agree
A
with
trophy
that.
there.
I agree with that because and that's the thing. Whenever I've ever dieted, you know, I guess it must be the whole social media thing, because it
Yeah.
wasn't really it wasn't. I mean, because I wasn't looking to diet, or I wasn't looking for a blood group diet support group. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
and I find it to be quite amazing that this whole carnivore way of life is got such a supportive community.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I haven't really seen any drama, you know, like, because generally in communities, um, every single community has got some kind of drama, and you're just like, ew, you know, I don't want to
Mm.
look at that, but I haven't seen anything so far. But
Hmm.
I've been a part of a couple of communities, like photography community, the mermaid community, and the mermaid community can be very toxic. It's very toxic. Okay. It's why I'm a rogue mermaid now. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I have to ask, what is the mermaid community and what is we're talking literally here, or what's the
Yes. 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 It's literally like,
Oh,
um, I'm gonna try to not say too many bad things about it because there's a lot of good aspects to it. Okay. Um, being a mermaid is it's fun. It's very creative. It's really good exercise. It's the form of
yeah.
exercise that I've used for the I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia back in 2012. You know, and so it was
Oh.
like I couldn't really do any weightlifting. I could do walking and swimming. So I've used that as my form of exercise.
Mm-mm.
People put on a pretty tail, accessories, and they imagine themselves as being a mermaid. And but
Nice.
it's like live action role playing, but you do actually go swimming. Whereas with the medieval thing, yeah, you know, you go and you fight with swords and stuff. You know, I've seen that.
Yeah.
It's very similar, but you actually go and you do swim as a mermaid. I have gone and swam with sharks. Okay, I've swam with
Is it
sharks.
Yeah. Sorry.
I've
No, no, sorry,
swam
go on.
I've swam with sharks in New South Wales. I went down to Shell Harbour to meet up with another friend who's a mermaid. There's mermaids all over the world. Okay,
I
huge
didn't
community.
know this.
It's
I didn't know
international.
this.
Yes, it's all
Wow.
international. There's there's they're everywhere, all over Australia. They're everywhere. Okay. But it can be quite toxic because there's a lot of uh, eclectic people with that steer towards the environmental type side of things. So
Hmm.
I won't say too much more, but
Gotcha,
and
gotcha.
those type of people can they do a lot of naming and shaming, and you know, so I just, yeah, I was like, okay, well, I'm done with you all. Go get stuffed, okay? And because I did not get into this for the drama. I got into this to enjoy what it was like to be a mermaid and swim with others and have fun.
Yeah,
So I did that on
absolutely.
my own. I do that on my own now.
Oh.
But yeah, so it's been fun, and this summer's coming up, so I'm really looking forward to losing even more weight. Now, in regards to that, I've actually stalled. I've stalled a little bit. I've
Mm,
stalled
mm.
since July, and I've done everything from try sardine fasts to the lion diet for a couple of weeks. I've cut out this, cut out that. Um, but then I'm doing a lot of weightlifting too, so the scale's not really moving, but I'm losing inches. But I'm not measuring myself every week, you know. I'm measuring
Yeah, yeah.
myself like once a month.
Mm, mm.
Yeah. So
I guess it's about being I guess sometimes, you have to look at it in a subjective way. If you're feeling okay and you're feeling great, um, sometimes that outweighs, pun intended, the numbers on the scale. So,
it does. I don't think, like, I don't, even if I hadn't lost any weight and I
yeah.
had felt good and cured all these other, I still would be like, this is a win for me. It's just I was one of those who did get lucky, and not everybody is lucky. I've just spoken to a lady today where she's gaining weight, and
Mm,
that's not, it's not what people want, you know, because but I just said, look, this is not a weight loss diet, it's a
no.
healing diet. Your body's going to prioritize the healing first, and once it's done, you know, healing itself, then it'll drop the weight. But
Mm,
it depends on where everybody's at and how much health problems they've got and what their diet was prior, you know.
absolutely.
And so I think that plays a lot of factors in everything, but everyone is so different on this diet. Everyone is.
Yes.
So you cannot expect to get the same result that I get, you know?
Hmm. I actually talked. I put out a YouTube video today, and I talked about this briefly, but everyone has. There is going to be a large degree of individuality when it comes to how you proceed with the carnivore diet and what changes you need to make. How quick you transition, how slow you transition, how what you experience and what results you achieve, because um, there really is no cookie cutter approach. I don't think anyway. That's my opinion. If people say, well, it's better to do it this way because majority of people are like this, fine. But um, again, we all live very different lives
Yeah.
from each other.
I also
So
think that there's more to the picture than just the food. There's your mindset,
absolutely,
there's the external
yes,
factors, there's your stress levels, your sleep patterns. How
yes,
much sun are you getting? Are you getting outside? Are you exercising? It's like there's so much to it
absolutely,
that the mineral deficiencies as well. It's like there's
yes.
so many aspects to it, and it's not a one size fits all diet. And people have to it's a trial and error. It's trial and error. What works for someone may not work for the next. I mean, my husband and I are completely different on the aspect of fat to protein ratio. He requires more
Oh,
fat, whereas I don't.
oh,
If I
really?
have
Okay.
I no, not to eliminate.
No, no, no. As in, usually, what I tend to hear is that just from my experience, a lot more of the females would have a higher sort of fat ratio than to protein. But I'm like you. I actually I am better off on a lower fat. Not, I'm not talking really low, but
Yeah,
lower
yeah.
compared to a lot of people. Yeah, and a higher protein intake. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he requires a lot more fat than I do, and
Mm.
he's just figured this out after 6 months. Okay, like
Is he
he had
carnivore as
stopped.
well?
Yes, like he's been.
Oh,
So we started at the same time, but I
nice.
was I grow vegetables, and I'm like, okay, how's this gonna work if I'm doing this diet and you're not? What are you gonna do? It's like I will eat the vegetables from the garden, and when those vegetables are finished, then I'll go carnivore. And I'm like, and because like for him to have the vegetables, he's got to go and dig it
Yeah.
out. So he's like, one
Yeah.
day he's like, I can't be stuffed going and getting a sweet potato. I'm just gonna go carnivore.
Yeah.
But so he's kind of a month behind me, but we've tracked the same body percentage of weight loss. So, because
Great.
I'm like, you're losing weight more than me. He's like, okay, let's do the math. Let's do the math. And then he's like, this is the math. And we're about 30%. And I was like, oh, okay. I feel better.
Yeah, that's not too
uh,
bad. Yeah.
yeah, but he's just, after 6 months of being on this diet, he's just figured out what he needs to eliminate every day. Because before
Mm.
he figured it out, he was going every 3 to 4 days, and he doesn't like doing that. He likes going every day. He always
We're
feels
talking
kind of
about
stuck.
bowels, right?
He just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't. He doesn't feel right unless he goes every day. So I don't know. He made this concoction, and I called it the fatty. Okay, and it's basically just fat and water and salt. Okay, so what it is, okay, you guys want to get a pen? Okay, get a pen and paper and write this down. A teaspoon of butter. You can put as much butter as you want, but I put in a teaspoon. A teaspoon of tallow, a pinch of salt, water to about 3/4 where you got a little bit of room left, and the rest is cream or whipping cream.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, two
That
of
that's
those.
making my
Guess
stomach
what he's on?
churn.
He's on two of those a day.
Oh
And it's not
gosh.
it's not a regular cup. It's a mug, like a big mug. It's like a soup bowl, because
Oh gosh.
we don't
Yeah,
have small we don't have small coffees in this house. Okay, I have some small cups,
yeah.
but he has it in the big ones from Kmart, the big ones. um and so he has one in the morning and one in the evening. and that is his tea. It's a fatty.
It's a
It's
fatty.
I called it the fatty. It's pretty much because it's fat. I says, here's your fatty. You know,
You need
drink
to
your fatty.
trademark that.
Don't let your fatty go cold.
You need to trademark that and honestly
Yeah.
just claim that as a as a
Yeah,
you thing, and that could be it.
and he's just like, oh babe, I can't believe this has actually worked. I finally found the solution so I can go every day. Great. It's yeah, so that's what he gets. Whereas I
Wow.
don't really like. I tried about a week worth of just putting extra butter, because what he's been researching a lot of thyroid issues, because that's what I suffer from. So he's been watching
Hmm.
a lot of videos from Dr. Elizabeth Bright and other
Oh yeah,
various
she's great.
things. I think she had an
Hmm.
interview with Anthony Sheffy as well. And so he's been doing the research on that side, because I had gotten my blood work back in September, and
Hmm.
and that's going okay. So let's track back to the medication. I got off all of the opiates in 2020, even though I still suffered. Okay, and
For
I went
fibromyalgia, right? That was
from
for the fibro.
all kinds of other things as well. Chronic back and neck problems. I have a chronic
Hmm.
injury on my neck, and
Okay.
they say it's this, but I don't believe that, because I mean it could be trigeminal neuralgia type 2, the third branch, but
Hmm.
I don't know because they've not actually done any other tests. What they did is I went and saw a rheumatologist. She asked me a bunch of stupid questions, did a range of motion on me, and says, "Oh, well, it sounds like it's this." I'm like, "Okay, so are you not going to run MRI or CT scan?" She's like, "No, I'm pretty sure it's this." I'm like, "Okay, well, what's the solution for that?" Lyrica. No,
Oh
I'm not.
no, you got on
I,
Lyrica?
no, she said that's what I should be taking. I'm like, "No, I'm not taking that." She says, "Then there's no other solution. Surgery or medication?" And I'm like, "No, thank you. No, thank
Oh
you."
gosh.
Um, so I've been living with this for 6 years, and I've had moments where I've just cried my eyeballs out in desperation. I'm a lot better than I was, but I'll tell you, I was like at an 11 pain scale. Okay.
Wow.
I'd be debilitated. I would be on drugs because I just couldn't function. Now I have issues with it, but and I've actually had a lot of issues with it over the last 3 or 4 weeks, worse than I have
Oh
in the
wow.
last 6 months. Yeah. So prior to coming on here, I said to husband, I says, "Can you just massage this area, please? Just do that." And so he
Oh
massaged
wow.
it and got a bit of release, and then we had a really good laugh about something, and I just cracked up so bad, and I felt really good after that. I think laughter is really underrated as a form of
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
therapy. I think laughter is underrated. You know, it's I saw this video recently of a guy at a bus station, and he was there just standing with everyone else, and he just starts busting out laughing like for no reason, and the people couldn't actually help but start laughing with him, even though
I've seen that. Yeah. Yeah.
they didn't understand why.
Yeah. Yeah.
your
Yeah.
uh, your vibe can be contagious. And so, anyways, laughter is a big thing. So if you're feeling stressed out, go to a comedy fest or something. Go out to a comedy club, or just call up your friend and have a good laugh or something. It'll do you the
Yeah.
world of wonders.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is as an experience for myself. Like I'm a nurse, right? Like it can be a very stressful job, and
Mm,
both physically, mentally, and emotionally. And so, like, you just have to have a laugh with your colleagues about certain things to get your day going. And then you might hear people, or you might, people might walk past and be like, "What are you guys on right now?" Like this is, but it's all about really. I think it's a bit of distraction therapy, but also
yeah.
could be something physiological happening. Who knows?
Yeah. So I enjoy having a really good laugh. It really is a stress relief. I'll tell you what happened. Okay. So um crying and laughing create the same results. So it's a release. So
Yeah.
if when you have a big cry, you release that stress and that tension. You do the same
Mm.
thing with laughter too.
Yeah.
So laughing and crying produces the same stress release. What would you rather do, be crying or laughing?
No, exactly. Exactly. You've
So go
good choice.
go and have more laughter sessions with someone. Go and watch that comedy, go out with your friends and have a good laugh, do stupid stuff, play games, whatever. Create a situation where you're at least having a good laugh once a week, because it will help you with your stress.
Absolutely. That is wonderful advice.
I
Um,
laugh every
uh,
single day because I'm married to a comedian, and that's probably why I'm so goofy myself, is because I just love being funny. I am my genuine self on my page. I don't pretend to be anybody else but me. And I don't like to be serious too much. And I
yeah.
like to keep things fun, because it catches onto people. People will
Yeah.
want to see my content because I'm a real genuine person who's a
Mm, mm.
goofball and stupid and silly.
Yeah, and people gravitate towards that as well. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the catch, and then it kind of links back to um, what keto marathons just mentioned. Having a supportive community is one ingredient that makes the results stick, and bringing in those positive vibes, and like you said, you came into the carnivore community not and you've noticed not much drama, which I mean, look, at the end of it, there's always going to be drama in every
Yes.
single tribe that
Yeah.
you go to, but for the most part, and that's sort of my experience too. There really isn't a lot of people within the carnival community are quite supportive. There's one or two,
Yeah.
in a couple of pages that questionable, but um, it's I consider it a health hack, actually, being one of the health hacks that I think is community and being tribalistic, because I think humans are meant to be social creatures. Like, we're meant to
Yeah.
interact with
Yeah.
one another,
Yeah.
and I think we learn a lot from each other um, through social connections. So it's a health hack for me, I think.
Yeah. I think what this community is basically it's helping other people to get out of the system. Okay. It's
Mm,
If you think
system.
about this, right? This whole community, this whole carnivore thing is outside of the mainstream narrative. Okay.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to touch too much on that, but um, it's because they've not gotten any answers. They've had the runaround from doctors, and they have just continued to suffer and not get better. And they're then at rock bottom when they finally decide to try the carnivore diet, because they tried
Mm,
everything else. And
yeah.
they're tired, they're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they're just ready to try it because they've seen other people get healed. And they're
Yeah.
thinking to themselves, oh my God, there's some hope for me. There's hope for me. And that's what I felt when I was seeing all these testimonies and doing all the research. Is I'm like, oh my God, there's hope for me, and then finally starting to see the miracles that were happening with me was just like,
Mm,
oh my God, that's a mind blown. It's like, and so you can't help but be gung-ho about it and want to spread the message. I don't want to say it's a religion or an occult thing, but it's just something that we have to spread. It's the carnivore gospel. We have to spread it, because the amount of people that we can save on this way of eating will just save people. It will make the earth whole again. It will help humanity, restore humanity to where we should be.
mm, mm.
And that in itself it is fighting against the whole globalist thing. Okay, whether people want to be political or not, this is a political thing. And we're not going to talk about politics on this live, but if you think about it, this is a spiritual battle that we're going through. We're going through a battle of trying to regain our health and taking back control from the beast, the people that are making us ill. And that's kind of, and I, for myself, see it as a way of defiance. It's a it's defiance against going along with their plan and not partaking in that. I don't want to partake. I'm not going to comply with that anymore. And doing something different. And that's really empowering when you get to this position of feeling the results of carnivore. You feel empowered. You feel like you're in control again. You don't feel helpless. Do you get that?
Yeah.
Like, you don't feel helpless. I mean,
100%.
how did you feel when you were starting to get results, Jeff? How'd you feel?
Oh man, I went through a wave. I like to call it a wave of emotions. I think the initial, wow, I am feeling 200 times better than I've ever felt in my life. I just feel like I'm on top of the world. But then I reached that peak and I realized that no one was really there with me. This was at a time where, okay, carnivore diet was online and people were talking about it 3 years ago, but within my social network of people, no one knew about it.
Yeah.
And that sucked because, well, when I started to talk about it, it surprised a few people. They could see the results physically, but that's where the battle kind of began internally, because for almost a decade of my life, I've dedicated my work to help people and to help people improve their health and well-being. Now, when you've done something for yourself and it worked, but it goes against what the status quo or I guess the mainstream advice for health, it sucks. You feel like you're tired, you're bound, because, well, how the hell are people going to believe me if they can't even believe the people on social media who talk about it? Like, this was when Sean Baker, Michaela Peterson, during that time, they've just popped up, and they've received a lot of flack from from people, and I didn't,
But it's
I
been
wasn't
good
ready
though
to.
too. It's been good
Oh,
though
now it
too
has, yeah,
because they've been put into these positions by a higher power. Like
yeah,
they are the pioneers of this. They have been put into this role by a higher power. Whether you believe in God or not, but it's because, like I said before, this is a spiritual battle. Okay.
yeah.
And I was talking to my husband about this, and I was thinking, this whole thing it's just starting to trend right when they want us to eat the bugs. I find that really funny. I find it really funny that it's all happening at the same time of them wanting to push lab grown meats, eat the
Yeah,
bugs, trying to attack our food sources with, killing our livestock, our cows,
yeah,
our
yeah,
chickens, all these mysterious chicken fires. It's no
yeah.
coincidence. It's no
No
coincidence.
coincidence.
No,
Mm.
no, none at all. And so, yeah, this is a battle. We are in a war, whether
Mm.
you know it or not. We're this not a physical war, although there is war going on, but we are in a war, and we've been in this war since the dawn of time. Yes.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing new under the sun.
No,
Nothing.
no.
So, yeah, so I see this whole carnivore thing as a defiance against the system and regaining our control of our health again, because this is what we used to eat all along. And,
For a
the
very long
powers,
time.
the whole time. Yeah. And the powers that be have just been weaseling their way into our minds and trying to change our way of eating and way of life for decades, even
Mm.
before I was born. Okay. And because this is a generational thing, this is just not happening over the last 20 years. This is a generational thing. This has been going on way before. This has been going on at least since the 40s. Okay. I'm 50. My mom, before she died, was 61. She was born in 1948. You learn your eating habits from your parents.
Yeah.
And these people who think that obesity is hereditary, it's not. It has to do with the learned patterns of the way that you were taught
Yep.
to eat, and you carry that knowledge. And then everybody wonders why everyone's fat in my family. Oh, it must be hereditary. No, it's not. It has to do with what you've been
Mm.
taught all along. I have both sides of my family have had obese people, all of my dad's side and all of my mom's side. And
Mm.
when my mom died, I promised myself I wasn't going to end up dead at 61. Okay. I've got 11 years left.
Mm. Mm.
She was disabled all of my life, physically. She was a single mom. I didn't even have a dad. I didn't have any brothers or sisters. I took care of my mom. So,
Mm.
and I was very rebellious as well. I don't deal well with authority. So when someone says you need to eat the bugs, I'd be like, stuff you. No,
No, thank
not
you.
complying,
No.
not complying. Yeah. So, seeing my mom's health deteriorate like that, I did start taking things into my hands back in, 20 years ago. It's just, and this is now coming back onto what I'm dealing with some of the people I'm working with now. Is you start this way of eating, and then there's going to be something that's going to happen to you in your life, something stressful that's going to kick you off your horse, and it's going to be really hard to get back on. And it can be a mental struggle. So I lost 63 kilos. No, I was at 63 kilos in 2006. Went off to Sydney to pursue a music career. I'm not even going to
Mm.
go into that. I'm not going to go into all of that. But I came back to Perth 30 kilos heavier.
Wow.
Sick. I was diagnosed with the hypothyroidism in 2010 whilst I was there. Was put on antidepressants. With everything that happened to me pursuing the music career, I was suicidal. I wanted to throw myself in front of a bus because there was just a lot of things that happened and my dreams got crushed. So you're talking now, that's 17 years ago. Okay. I have not been this thin for 17 years.
Wow.
I
And
stopped weightlifting 17 years ago.
mm,
So when I came
and
back to
imagine
Perth,
this.
it's just,
It
yeah.
took so the span of time, it was a couple of months. It only took you a couple of months to really drop it back down to the weight that you currently were.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I could not have done it without Carnivore. I could not have done what I've just done over the last, I've stalled. So you're talking like 16 weeks. I lost all that.
Wow.
And
16 weeks.
16 weeks. And I'm hypothyroidism, perimenopausal. I'm 50 years old. I've got health issues,
Wow.
and I was able to lose the weight. Now, people who have thyroid issues, especially underactive,
Mm.
they have a very hard time losing weight. And I've seen posts from other people saying they've lost 20 pounds in a year. And I'm able to lose that in like 16 weeks. Although I have lost fat, but the scale, like in regards to the scale movement, it's been 9.8
Mm.
kilos of scale movement, but I've lost a lot of inches because I'm weightlifting now. So I'm trading the
That's so cool.
trading the fat
For
for
fat,
muscle
yeah,
now. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So it's been quite a journey. I'm really happy. I've got like 10 kilos to go. I'm still got, I'm only halfway done.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
so I've not been thinner than 63 kilos. In my whole adult life, I've never been thinner than 63 kilos. And I have been super fat. I've been obese at times, and I've been yo-yo dieting all of my life and starving and busting my butt at the gym. And so when I did carnivore, I was just like, "Oh my God. I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe that it's this easy."
Yeah.
I seriously, I'm still amazed. I'm like, holy crap, that like, look at what I've done. Like, look what's happened to me. So if there's anybody that's listening right now and you've been sitting on the fence, you just need to do it. You need to get off your butt and just do it. Do it for 30 days.
Yeah, absolutely. Give it a go.
Give it
Join
a go.
Sophia's group. Join Sophia's group, and experience the results for yourself. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. So
And has this been the longest? You're talking about yo-yo dieting. Has this been the longest? Uh, I
way of
guess
eating,
wave
like,
eat yeah, like it's sustained this wave eating for a period of time now. Is it the longest
um
you've done that for any sort of diet?
no, like, well, I was on the blood group diet, but I wasn't on that diet for weight loss. Like, I was on that diet to heal my gut, like to get better. And I was
Hmm.
thinking I was eating foods that were for my blood group. And I read the book on it, and they
Yeah.
it does say that there is scientific proof behind it. And I don't necessarily doubt that entirely. I think because say let's take black pepper for instance. Okay,
Yeah.
black pepper is, I'm not supposed to have that as a type blood O. Okay, I'm not supposed to have that.
Mm.
It's also high in oxalates.
Yes.
You know, so there is something to be said about that. But um, yeah, I think I probably will never ever go back to that way of eating, because why would I? I've seen people in other Facebook groups where they have fallen off the bandwagon,
Mm.
and their symptoms return like immediately. Like
Mm.
the very next day they wake up, they're like, I'm in so much pain right now. My gut is hurting. I've even seen a lot of influencers who have tried
Yes.
to reintroduce things, and they're just like, I feel like complete shit. you know
Mm.
I'm like, and that should be a good deterrent right there to not even cheat.
Yeah.
So now, in saying all that, I will be honest, I have had a moment where I was like, I was fellowshipping. I'm a Christian. I was fellowshipping
Mm.
at a family's house. She knew I was carnivore. She did cook a big roast, but there was some like a lot of people there, some other families, and there wasn't enough meat. And so she's like, "Oh, I'm really sorry," and I'm like, "Okay, and it's no biggie." I had brought a cheese platter and some crackers for everyone else. So I was like,
Mm.
"Oh, I'll just have some meat and cheese or something." And then I was like, "Okay, yeah." So I ended up having like one little ladle spoon of the cheesy potatoes, and like it was so weird. I was going like this. This is gonna be weird. Okay, that's interesting. It was so weird, almost like it was foreign, like it just didn't feel right. And then I says, well, okay, screw it. I've already had the cheesy potatoes. I might as well have a very thin slice of cheesecake. So that's the only time I've actually cheated on the diet. Luckily, I didn't have any symptoms that came. I didn't have any problems the next day.
Mm.
So when people, and that's what really gets me, is when people have been on this way of eating and then they slip up and then they bag on themselves. It's like, why are you doing that? It's not doing you any good bagging on yourself like that.
No.
You
It's a
just,
blessing in disguise.
it works. Just get back on it.
Yeah.
I mean, even Dr. Kiltz, right? Dr. Kiltz loves dark chocolate. Did you
Yeah.
know that?
No, didn't know.
Yeah,
So
he
he
was.
loves the dark chocolate.
Oh yeah. He occasionally has dark chocolate. And I'm like, to each their own, and to see other people bagging on other people. That's the only drama that I have seen. Okay, is
I was gonna say you haven't seen that yet. I was gonna.
I have seen some drama, but I
Yeah.
I'm like, oh hello, okay, goodbye.
I'm not gonna lie. I used to be like that.
Yeah, is in the Facebook groups. Somebody will post something and they're like, "That's not carnivore.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be doing
Yes.
that." It's like, what?
Yeah. Look,
It's like saying, like,
I used to be like that.
Were you?
But the thing is, like, look, it wasn't. I think it was. Look, what really got to me was people would encourage certain foods and staple that as it's okay to have it for in the carnivore diet. um Fruits is the thing I'm talking about. They
Okay,
say,
yeah.
oh, it's okay to have such and such fruits, and then they'll post a photo of what they're eating, and you see a little piece of meat and the whole platter is just fruits and cheese.
Yeah, no.
And you
That's
think,
not carnivore.
come on now. Come on.
Okay,
Like, yeah, this you gotta draw a line.
that's acceptable, okay? But it's like, when they have a full plate of meat and then they have like maybe 5 blueberries or something. And they're like, oh, that's not carnivore. Or you've got onions on there and there's garlic. That's plant material.
I think people have got to realize the definition of carnivore as well. I mean, it's not.
I think it's a percentage of your. I think it's like anything
Correct.
that's above 80% meat is considered carnivore.
Yeah.
And as you've seen, a lot of people have seen the graphs where it says ketovore or ketovore, animal-based, carnivore, lion diet. So there's various things. There's no set thing, and it is ultimately the ultimate elimination diet.
Yeah.
And it doesn't say you can't reintroduce stuff later.
No.
However, I have actually seen something from Dr. Professor Bart K. He's actually really brilliant. He's brilliant. If you guys are not following Professor Bart K, he's mainly on YouTube. You're missing out, man. He is hilarious.
He's the man.
He is the man, and he's even said fruit is a no-go. It's a no-go. You do not have it. It was only seasonal and eaten at the end of autumn in preparation for winter to fatten yourself up for food scarcity.
Yeah.
Imagine
this though. You have people that, and I think it's because they take it from prior experiences in different tribes that they used to be in. I'm not naming any names, but you guys can take a hint here. But certain behaviors and traits that you find from other tribes that you seep into the carnivore community, and it really it taints the image a little bit. And so like I think if you can introduce foods back into your diet, so long as you stick within, like you said, that percentage range, at the end of the day, the label of the carnivore diet, is just a label. At the end of the day, it is about you as an individual. Like I have never been. I have to accept this now. I've never been able to get rid of coffee completely out of my diet.
Neither have I. I mean, I am now because I'm not having the heavy cream, and it's like I don't want to. I really don't want to have it black.
Yeah.
I mean, I have had it black. It's okay, but it's really better with the cream. And if I can't have the cream, what's the point?
What's the point? Yep, exactly. Yeah, no.
It must be really hard as a nurse trying to not have coffee.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I actually I did it last year for 3 months. I did it. I did coffee without. Yeah, I had it 3 months without coffee, and I felt great. Actually, you know what? When they say your bowel function actually improves when you go off the coffee, it really does. Like I thought that it would just shake things up a little bit because that's where I'd get a lot of my fat intake would be the coffee and then the heavy cream. And I
Maybe
thought,
you
oh,
have to
this
have a
is
fatty.
I probably have to have it. But no, no, no. Actually, I cut out coffee completely and everything just I don't know. It just felt like it self-regulated. And I felt great, but uh I think over years, decades of conditioning, you
Okay.
do miss the taste. I
Yes. Yes. And
I
I
like I
agree
love
with
the
you.
taste.
I agree with you. So, right. So, on the blood group diet,
Yeah.
coffee is not allowed. Okay.
Oh no.
I went out without coffee for 3 years, right?
Oh,
What was I having?
no.
I was having chai tea. I was having dandelion tea, and dandelion
Not the same.
it's like a coffee alternative, but it's not the same. Trust me, it's not. And then I
It's not.
it's not the same, no. So I was at one of my volunteering jobs, and I was just like, oh, smelling the coffee. I was smelling everyone else have coffee, and I was just like, oh my goodness. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have a cup of decaf. And they had the organic Republica one there, which uses the Swiss water method of taking the decaffeinated in a natural water process. So it's got none of the
Okay.
chemicals. And I'm like, oh my God, this is good. Ooh. So I started drinking coffee again. Then I got onto caffeinated coffee. And then I saw from the Primal Bod, I'm sure you
Oh
follow
yeah,
her.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
yeah, yeah.
Candy is awesome. She's like, she reminds me of like your badass gym teacher.
She's keto, right? She
No,
does a
she's
keto
carnivore. She's
carnivore.
carnivore.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so Candy Fraser at the Primal Bod on Instagram. She just reminds me of like a badass PE teacher, and just she just doesn't take any crap and she just tells it how it is and she's just up in your face about everything. So she posted saying coffee is bad, don't drink it, and
Mm.
it will hike your cortisol level and affect your insulin levels. And I'm like, I don't want that to happen, so I better get off of it. And I went decaf again, and yeah, I've just been having it here and there. Obviously, I'm off of it because I've taken the dairy out for the time being. But yes, I can
Mm.
understand why it's hard to break. I think coffee is harder to break than sugar.
It's a drug. Let's
It is
just
a
let's
drug.
just let's just claim it for what it is. It's a
Yeah,
stimulant,
yeah,
and you can argue or disagree that it's got an addictive property to it. I think it's addictive, and
anything can
I
be an
by no means
addiction.
am I promoting this. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
promote the drinking coffee at all. I do it recreationally because I enjoy it. But
yeah,
when it comes
yeah.
to do you need it for your health? Absolutely
No,
not. It's not
no,
required.
no, no. I agree with
Mm.
that as well. I mean, anything can be, used as a drug, really,
Yeah.
including heavy cream.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to claim it as a drug, but that's
Oh
really
well,
hard for me. I mean, I love my dairy.
well, if it gets to the point where your husband is chugging 1,200 grams in one night, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can't trust him with any cheese. I can't trust him with any cream. I've had to ban it from the house because he will sit there and just chug away a whole
Yeah.
600 gram of thickened cream.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah,
I love thick and cream. I love thick and cream though.
yeah, I
That's the
do
best.
too. We changed from the thickened cream to the Harvey Fresh whipping cream because
Oh, okay. No, we don't
I
have
found
that
out
here.
there's something in the in it that, the thickening agent. It's not gelatin. It's gura gum or something like that. I don't
Okay.
know. So I decided to switch it up, um, but now he's getting it every day. But I'm not. I'm the spender, so I'm the one who's. He gives me the budget, and I'm the one that buys it. So if you go through it, then you're shit out of luck.
Yeah.
So he's got to learn to moderate.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I've
Oh
never
well,
had that problem.
it's a work in progress.
Yeah. But there are
Yeah.
a lot of people on the carnivore diet that have a problem with curtailing their dairy consumption. There
Mm.
is, I think there's some hormone in it too that hits the dopamine factor as well. Something in there.
Yeah.
It can be quite addictive. Cheese can be very addictive. It hits the same dopamine triggers.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
got casomorphine. So is
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
casomorphine? I can't remember the yeah.
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 Casein.
So
Casein. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just been interesting how much I've learned over these last 6 months, and I just keep learning more.
Mm.
I've always been a geek, in a sense, where I like to research things. I like to learn things. The only medical background that I actually have is I was a remedial massage therapist for a couple of years. I did go and get a Cert 4 in that, and
Nice.
I did learn about anatomy and physiology and hormones and all those things. But you're talking like 20 years ago.
Well,
So
still, I
I'm
mean,
like,
that's something.
yeah, so that's the only but I like to research stuff.
Well, I think you've got more knowledge than a lot of health professionals that talk the talk
You
nowadays.
know,
So
doctors are so brainwashed. And a lot of them, they don't actually have the time to do any research outside of their practice because they're too busy seeing people. Um, and then they've got to go home and have dinner and be with their family. So they really don't have enough
yeah.
time to research. So yeah, I mean, I'm sitting there at my last doctor's appointment with an obese doctor telling me that, I have to warn you that your cholesterol is high. I'm like, yeah, but what's the rest of my blood panel look like? She's all, it looks fantastic. I says, then I'm not concerned. She says, I'm not concerned. And the next time I see her and I'm a lot thinner, I'll be like, I know this will probably be like a major roast with her, but I'll be like, okay, so my cholesterol is even higher this year, but look at me. And now look at you.
Look, I
Who
think
do you
at
think
the end
is
of the day,
healthier?
yeah, I mean, like, how it amazes me that, and again, it's nothing personal. It's just what I observe. But you look at the clinics, and there's certain health professionals that you think, wow, would I take advice from this person?
No, no, no,
Definitely not.
no. My last doctor before seeing this lady doctor actually died, and I'm like, oh my god. I'm
Oh
like
wow.
wondering. I've never had a doctor that's just died on me like that. I'm like, that's just. And he was only 80, and he didn't even look 80. He looked like he was in his 60s. Really nice guy. I actually liked him, but
Oh yeah.
I hadn't seen him for a year because I don't go to the doctor anymore because I don't trust them. And I was like, oh yeah, I want to book with so and so. Oh, he's no longer with us. I'm like, oh, why? He passed away. Oh my god, what happened? And they couldn't really tell me, but I was talking to the new lady doctor that I'm seeing who's obese. Lovely lady, okay? Brainwashed as hell. But you know, she was just, I don't know. And I basically I went at her. You know how you see those if your doctor's not if your doctor pushes drugs on you before researching what you eat and your lifestyle, then they're not a healer, they're a drug dealer.
They're drugged.
I I actually
Well,
said
I
that.
mean,
I actually said that to her. I says, okay, my first question to you is, are you a healer or are you a dealer? She looked at me funny. I'm like, I says, I have trust issues with doctors. Yeah, I went in with the angst. And then I left on a positive note because she really took the time to and this is the first time I've ever had that happen. So I have a lot of respect for her, but she's brainwashed.
Yeah.
So hopefully I can wake her up.
I think, look, at the end of the day, the doctors, when they train, they go through the the stock standard. Basically, they
Yeah,
go through the same training that all other doctors sort of give. Again, I'm just, from the outside looking in, that's what it seems like, because it's the
yeah.
same things that is being spouted at, and there's no, I don't see any change in that for the time being, or even in the late
It's
future.
not
I,
gonna
I don't I don't
change.
see it. Things I don't think that's gonna change. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, Imagine this. Like, I was actually just watching a video the other day on uh, Dr. Atkins. You know, my parents knew about Atkins in the 80s or 90s. I can't remember when it was.
yeah.
And, you know, they knew him for, as you mentioned, as a quack. Like, he was this crazy guy. You know, he died from a heart attack from the diet that he was consuming and whatnot.
A
The,
lot of people actually
the,
lost weight on that diet. I mean, I went on the Atkins diet and was losing weight on that diet too. But um, it's just like when you say the word diet, everyone just thinks that it's just like you do it for a little while and then you can whatever. People always fall off their diets because it's not sustainable.
yeah,
Period.
yeah.
Period.
Mm-mm.
Whereas carnivore is. It is
Yeah, yeah.
because you don't get those cravings. You don't,
No,
I'll tell you what, I have not felt hungry in 6 months. I'm like, when am I going to actually be hungry? When I'm hungry, I'm not really hungry either. I'm just like, okay, my stomach is saying something, but I could go a little longer, but yeah, maybe I should eat. It's not like I need to eat, it's like, it's
yeah,
kind of like,
right.
yeah, it's kind of just nudging you a little bit, going, yeah, you should eat, but you don't have to eat. You can
Yeah,
take your time eating. Like, you eat when you're ready. I'll wait for you. Whereas when
yeah,
you're on other
exactly.
diets, you're like, I am screaming hungry. If I don't eat now, I'm gonna starve.
And people that experience going through these sort of diets, it's you know I like to just call it as it is. It's the starvation diets. These
Yeah,
weight loss diets are starvation diets. When they
yeah,
come into my program, the first thing I do in my first presentation that I give to my group challenges, I tell them the fundamental purpose of a diet isn't so that you can lose weight. It's not for weight loss. It's not for, for you to look aesthetically pleasing to the public or for yourself. At the end of the day, you crave food, or you are meant to eat because you need to survive. And that is it. That is the
yeah,
fundamental
yeah.
truth about diets. It's about sustaining your health. And my approach to diet is not like the others. All right, you're gonna know,
No.
and I tell them straight up, I want you to tune back to your instincts, listen to hunger and satiety.
Mm,
That is your calorie counter. Okay, that is your number one way to track food, is
yeah,
through that method. And once you start to lower those carbohydrates down, it becomes so powerful.
yeah, yeah. I agree. This saying has been running through my mind for the last couple of weeks, and I don't know if I heard it from someone on Instagram, but it just rings true.
Mm,
Um, Eat to live, don't live to eat.
exactly. Yeah, absolutely. That's it. That it's such a
Yeah,
simple message, but
yeah,
it's so
yeah,
powerful.
yeah.
Quite powerful.
I think we should wrap it up because we've gone over
Let's
an
wrap it up.
hour.
Yeah,
um,
I know. We can
but
keep going, but
yeah, if those are watching would like to get in touch with me, you can find me on Instagram at mycarnivore.co. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so
Follow,
much,
follow
Jess, for
Sophia.
having me.
No,
Thank you.
thank
It's
you
been
for tuning in.
wonderful. I've had a blast.
Me too. All right. Guys and girls, we'll see you in the next live stream.
Bye.
Okay. Bye. Alrighty.